Hello and welcome, and today we are taking a brief look at the Waking of Willowby Hall by Ben Wilson. That's Questing Beast Ben. This is a product he released recently. It's a very humorous, simple adventure designed for general OSR play, which means you can play it with anything that is D20 fantasy. It's sort of got this cartoonish, humorous vibe. Obviously, the plot involves a giant and a goose, and a place called Willowby Hall, and the happenstances that happen when a group of adventurers steal the giant's goose and run away to Willowby Hall, which it turns out is haunted. There's a lot of things I like about this adventure. One, it's really small. You could use it as a one-shot, or you could use it as a starting point. Another thing I like, no wasted space. Look at this. Inside front cover. Inside back cover. No wasted space. Art on almost every page. Okay, maybe these could have been smaller, but art on every page of some kind. But what really drew me to this and why I wanted to pick it up, and I think it's only $15 over at the Swordfish Island site for printing. And with that, you also get a digital copy. And it didn't take that long for me to get it in the mail. It was only like a week after I ordered it that they were able to print it and ship it out to me. So that was pretty quick, considering it to, if you print on demand from like drive-through, it can take months before you get it back. But what the main thing that attracted me to this, that I wanted to pick it up and take a look at, is the fact that each and every room is treated as an individual entity instead of just part of a larger whole. And I really like that idea that each room has its own list of things that are going on in it, and things that can be changed by the characters, and random tables that, so if I go in this room and roll like a 6, something happens, but then I leave this room and come back in this room a couple hours later and I roll a 9, something else happens. So the room is never the same when you go into it, which means the dungeon's never the same when you go through it, because what the characters do affect the dungeon, and each dungeon room is treated like an individual entity. And if that's been done before, and I'm sure it has, I haven't seen it that I can think of. Some hex crawls use the same idea where the whole hex has a random table separate from the next hex over. But this is the first time I've ever seen where each room has its own tables, own descriptions, own random generators, own list of things that can happen. Most dungeons have something like this at the beginning or the end, random wandering monster table, random occurrence table, what happens after 1 hour, what happens after 5 hours, kind of things. But that is something that affects the whole dungeon. So if the characters go in a room here and then leave, the DM can roll, the dungeon whole table to decide whether something goes back in or is attracted by the noise. This is the first time where I've ever seen each individual room treated like a separate entity. And I like that idea because, I've designed adventures in the past and I'm working on an OSR adventure, and I wanted to see how this worked and what I could do with it. Because I like that. I think I've already said this. I like that idea that each room is separate and that it has its own table, its own engine going on that is, independent of the rest of the dungeon. So, there's separate things that are going on over here that has nothing to do with what's going on over here. But obviously, if the player characters do something over here, it could affect the whole dungeon, which might in turn affect here, which in turn, we've got this table, we've got this list of things that happens in this room, depending upon what time, depending upon what the players do. It's all very unique to each individual room, which is very unique to this specific place. And I really like that. So without going deeper into this, because I haven't really read it yet, I've only skimmed through it, and my main interest was, how is this done? This idea of every room has its own separate stuff that is completely independent. And how could I use that? And how could that be taken to the next step? So if you're interested in me doing a further review of The Waking of Willowby Hall by Ben over at Questing Beasts, let me know. If you never want to see me review product ever again, let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Help me hit 500 subs by August 4th, and I'll reach into your castle and steal your duck. No, that just sounded wrong. Forget I ever said that. I'll do something crazy. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button so you always know what nonsense I'm up to. Support me through the PayPal and the Ko-Fi. Check out Ben over at Questing Beast. There's a link down below. And yeah, so far I like everything about this. The size, the layout, the fact that there's no wasted space. Well, there's some wasted space, but that's always going to be my thing. There's very little wasted space. Okay, 99% of the space is used. And the idea of the random tables being unique to each and every room. Plus, it's sort of a silly adventure. And, with so many dark, grim, doom adventures coming out and grim, dark worlds coming out and nothing the players do will change the fate of the world type role-playing, it's nice to see just a goof adventure every now and then. You gotta rescue a duck for a giant. That's just pure silliness, and it's nice to see some pure silliness come back to the hobby because it's just been so grim and dark and I'm more big of a fan of this kind of adventure, than the serious adventures, but that's just me. All right, if you want to see me do more of this, let me know. Until then, stay warm, stay safe, stay dry, stay awesome, stay off my lawn. I will talk to you later, Steve.